Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So, do you want to be a young founder? Do you want to start your own software company? Do you want to build a product of your own? I'm going to be sharing tips about how you can start your own software company. Starting a software company is not very hard, but you have to consider many factors if you want to succeed as a founder in a software company. So the first thing you have to consider is validating your idea. Whatever product you want to build has to solve a problem, and whatever problem you're solving has to be worth solving. So the first question to ask yourself is, what problem am I solving? Is it my problem? Is it other people's problem? And is the problem worth solving? If it's a problem around your community, you have to talk to the people who have this problem and know how they have been solving this problem. That way you get to know your competitors, you get to know your direct competitors, you get to know your indirect competitors, you get to know the angle you are supposed to solve the problem from. You get to know if the problem is already being solved and if you don't even need a solution to solve it again. Idea validation is the first thing you have to do as a founder. Every idea should be validated, every idea should be tested. You should talk to your users, people who have the problem. You should know what exactly the problem is before you even try to build a solution for it, because the problem is more important. Once you identify the problem, you can easily build a solution. So the first thing you have to do is knowing what the problem is. So after knowing and identifying the problem, you want to ask yourself, how am I going to solve the problem? This is where you don't talk of the technologies to use, the tools to use, the softwares to use, the programming language to use, and your key partners. When you've identified the problem and know what the solution is, then you talk about building your MVP. Your MVP is your minimum viable product. So this is like the smallest form of your software company that can solve the problem. So in building your MVP, you have to know the technologies you have to use. You need to know if your MVP is going to be a mobile app. You need to know if your MVP is going to be a web app. You need to know it's for a desktop. You need to know if it's hardware. So the problem you're trying to solve and the solution you're trying to bring will determine the kind of MVP or you're developing. Having known the problem, having validated the idea, having researched the market. If you want to build your MVP as a solo founder, perhaps you don't have funding, then you have to consider using tools that will not cost you much. So let's say you want to build a web app, you consider using free hosting, you consider using very cheap domain, you can even use sub-level domain that will be free. You consider using technologies that will not cost you. You consider hosting on free platforms that will help you minimize cost while you build an MVP, so you can know that your product is the right product for the market. So after building an MVP, you have to consider, okay, how do I reach out to the users and how do I sell to them? So remember, the first step is validating the idea and researching the market. So in the period of validating the idea and researching the market, you can use that time to get user data to know, okay, these are the people who have this problem. Collect their data, tell them, oh, I'm building something like this. I would like you to test what I'm building. So after building your MVP, you can reach out to those same people who helped you validate your idea and tell them, oh, okay, I've built a solution like this. I would like you to test. So these are your early users. They will be the one to tell you that, yes, it's actually solving a problem. It's different from what we've been using. In the process of getting users to test the product you built, you're doing this because you want to get feedback so you can modify, so you can solve the problem effectively. So the reason for reaching out to users is so they can give you feedback, so they can tell you if it's actually solving the problem, if it's helping them save time, it's helping them save resources, if it's doing the work better for them. So having validated the idea, research the market, build your MVP, then you can start consider scaling and registering the business, having a business name, having the name for your product, knowing if you need partners to scale. So having gotten all the information and built something really good for your users, you can start thinking of scaling. There are many ways of scaling your software business. One method is to scale organically, where you just increase your reach by talking to more people, and those people who you talk to will share the product with other people who have the same problem. That way your business is growing organically because you're not spending money, you're not spending so much resources, but since it's solving a major problem, people are sharing the solution for you, so it will help other people solve the problem too. Another way to scale is through partnership. So if you know you want to reach more people and you don't have the resources, you can partner with someone who has the resources or who has the skill to reach people. So that's where you have to now start looking for people who are good in marketing, who are good in selling software products, and tell them, can we work together to reach more people? And this will be your share in the company. This, I will give you equity, or after some few years, I will give you this as payment. So you sort out the remuneration and you go into partnership with someone who can help you sell your product. There are a few things to note about building your MVP. It should cost you very, very little to build, and it should be built very fast. Professionals will advise that you build your MVP in less than 3 weeks or in less than a month, because if you don't have to spend so much time. You have to just create something fast that users can interact with and give you feedback. So the purpose of building an MVP is to get feedback and to know how to restructure your idea and restructure the solution you're providing. So it shouldn't cost you so much to build, and it should be built very fast. So a recap of what I just said is, the first thing you have to do is to validate your idea, then research your market to know your competitors, to know who is already solving the problem, to know how you're going to solve the problem. That gives you a competitive advantage over your competitors, building your MVP. And in building your MVP, you might have to partner with other people in case you need someone to complement you. Your MVP should be simple, your MVP should be built fast, your MVP should be user-friendly. So after validating your idea, after doing your market research, you should know, if I solve this problem for these people, how much am I getting in return? How am I charging for this product? Am I charging them for using the product? Am I running sponsor ads on the product? You have to figure out how you're going to make profit from the product. So making profit from the product, you can consult with the professional to tell you, oh, this is the best way to make profit from the product. You can also look at your competitors. How are my competitors making profit from this product? And use a similar model to make profit from your product. Then you go ahead and build your MVP. This way you can now start talking to people. You can now start having people test your product. You can start having people try your product and tell you if it's actually solving a problem, and yet if they are willing to pay for this solution you're providing. Then you know that yes, your software company is on track, and you'll soon start making a lot of money from this software company. So I hope this helps you start your first company and grow your first company to the MVP level. Thank you very much.